Back here on CBS Sports HQ, and 5 more tickets were punched on Tuesday for the big dance. Wagner, St. Mary's, South Dakota State, Charleston, and Oakland. All of those teams will be dancing in the tournament. Just a question of where they will land. Time to welcome in CBS Sports bracketology expert Jerry Palm and CBS Sports senior basketball writer Matt Norlander. And so, fellas, the Gales showed why they won the regular season title in the WCC, besting the Bulldogs for their 5th tournament title. And Jerry, we know both teams will likely go dancing. But if you had to pick one team who's going to make a deeper run, who would it be and why?
I'm going to go with St. Mary's because I think St. Mary's will be the higher seed and therefore get the better draw in order to make a longer run. It really has nothing to do with one team being better than the other. I think they're pretty equal. But in terms of bracketology, I don't think they're equal. I think St. Mary's will be seeded probably one line ahead of Gonzaga and therefore have a better draw to make a longer tournament run.
You know, so this is an interesting one. Gonzaga has made 8 consecutive Sweet 16s. It's the longest streak active in the country and one of the longest in the history of the tournament. In fact, there's only one other program that's set to make the tournament with an active streak of more than 1 year, and that's Houston with 4. So because few in that program are so accustomed to it, and St. Mary's is not, now St. Mary's is now going to go to its 10th NCAA tournament under Randy Bennett. It's got a good shot, and, you know, broadly speaking, I think I would anticipate that St. Mary's has the better chance, but it's because of Gonzaga's style of play and how it's built into its culture that it's done it. I would narrowly lean the Zags, even though obviously I agree with Jerry that from a seed perspective, the Gales certainly set up better heading into Selection Sunday than Gonzaga. And I will say this real quick. If Gonzaga winds up in the 8-9 game, a terrifying potential situation for a 1 seed there, and you might well see the Zags be the trendy upset pick in the second round if a lot of people pick them to get out of the 8-9 game against whatever one is in their region.
I was going to say, 1 seeds do not want to play Gonzaga, and even though it's a down year, they still are a scary team. Now, in addition to St. Mary's securing a tournament bid, you got Oakland, Wagner, South Dakota State, Charleston, all winning the respective conference tournaments, and that means we got potential Cinderellas. Jerry, which Cinderella team or potential Cinderella team do you think has the best chance to make that run?
I'm going to go with Charleston. I think Charleston will be seeded the highest. They could be equal with Oakland. Will depend on how some of these other tournaments sort out. But Charleston has also been there. They were there last year. It's been a long time for Oakland. So the experience of Charleston, they're the better team of the bunch, and I think they could get the better seed. I have to go with the Cougars.
I'm going to agree on the Cougars. I will note that South Dakota State has won 8 games in a row, so it's a little bit hot here. And Eric Anderson has taken the Jackrabbits to the tournament. But objectively, Jerry and I are on the same page. Charleston with Pat Kelsey, and you see there some of their resume metrics. I find them to be a decent Cinderella candidate because they love to run. They shoot a ton of threes. Now, you're going to have to get hot, but we see it every year. Even if teams don't necessarily win a game, you got these 12, 13s, 14s, and sometimes even 15s, and rarely even a 16. They get hot. They catch the right opponent. And so to me, of all the winners on Tuesday night that got automatic bids, Charleston is the most likely Cinderella candidate.
And they're also extremely balanced. You have 5 players who average over 9 points a game, so you definitely want to see that in the tournament. You got to know who you're going to be able to pick on late in that game. Now, when we look at winners and losers, we're going to start with the winners. So, Jerry, I got to ask you, who's your biggest winner from Tuesday night?
My biggest winner is Oakland, but specifically Coach Greg Kampe. In his 40th season at Oakland, they're going to celebrate a conference championship and go back to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2011. I don't know how much longer Coach Kampe is going to coach there. I mean, he's been there forever. He's the longest tenured coach in Division I college basketball. But this is a great way to celebrate your 40th year on the job.
Incredible.
All right. Jerry's taken all of my answers, so I have to one-up him, okay? One, I do know how much longer he's going to coach there, and I know that because I talked to Greg Kampe after he won on Tuesday night. He actually hit up a local Indy area dive bar. I'm sure Palm is actually familiar with this. I'll have to tell it to him off air there, but he was getting a meal. He took my phone call. I appreciate that. Said he had more than 500 unread text messages at the moment there. He is nowhere close to retiring. And yes, Campy, longest tenured coach, active coach in the game, 40 years strong, 4th NCAA tournament. And he told me this one was so rewarding because he shared a wonderful story that happened about a week and a half ago. He sat down with one of his players who was there, a 4-year senior, and just like Trey Townsend, who went off, and he said, listen, we're going to do this. We're going to go to the tournament. I want to do this for you. And he said the players turned around and said to him, no, we want to do this because we want to do it for you, coach. And he said he had never had a team say that back to him in the history of his career, and it really kind of just blew his mind and kind of blew him back there. So a very emotional night, rewarding night for one of the best guys in the sport, Greg Campy. Can't wait to see them in the NCAA tournament.
That just shows the impact that he's had on those young guys. And hey, look, you should be happy, Matt. You're a very special man. 500 unread text messages, and you're not one of them. He answered, and he called. So, yeah, you're in high regard over there.
Yeah, no, I felt fortunate. I told him to take his phone off of Do Not Disturb, and thankfully Campy did that. He did this before a 4.5-hour drive, by the way, back to home to Michigan on early into Wednesday morning.
Yeah, sounds like he is a real one. Okay, so we talked about the winners from Tuesday. What about the biggest loser?
I'm going to go with Merrimack. Merrimack last year won the Northeast Conference tournament, but was not eligible to go to the NCAA tournament. This year, they were the 2 seed in the Northeast Conference tournament, and they got to host the championship game and came up short. Now that they're eligible, they've had a shot to win it on their home floor, and they didn't get it done, and that one's really got to hurt.
You know what? My loser is a power conference team that had no chance of making the tournament from an at-large standpoint. But how about it? Here's a stunner. I'm going to pick Miami. Miami has had a sub-500 season 4 of the past 6 years. The 2 that didn't involved a Final Four run last year and then the Elite 8 push 2 seasons ago. So a swift, brutal come down for the Hurricanes, which made that Final Four run in 2023. And this team had injury issues. That was a major factor there. Jim Larinaga, oh, by the way, will not be retiring. He went on record with me last year and said he was years away from retiring, and then reiterated that in the past week or so. But yeah, Miami, in the bigger picture, among the more disappointing teams in the entire country this season, and from Final Four to not even making the tournament is a brutal and swift swing of the pendulum.
Sounds like UNC, not too long ago as well. But right now, they're on top of the college basketball world, all things considered. Matt Norlander, Jerry Palm, we appreciate y'all as always. And we're gonna have so much coverage, wall to wall, on Selection Sunday. Joe Musso, Hakeem Dermich, Matt Norlander, and other characters will be breaking it all down for you. Selection Sunday right here on CBS Sports HQ.